Give us a sense of how what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday has changed you and the campaign.
Yeah, when your father hits the ground because somebody tries to take off his head with a rifle, it obviously changes you. It changes everybody. And scary moment. I was watching with my two kids, 6 and a 4-year-old on your lap, and obviously the unthinkable happened. And you hear the gunshots rain out, and then you see a bunch of people jump on top of him. You see him come up with blood running down his face. It's unthinkable. And 48 hours later, we were here in Milwaukee, and I was casting the vote. I was a delegate for Florida, but I was casting the vote that would ultimately make him the Republican nominee for president of the United States. And you want to talk about highs and lows in life in a short period of time, those are your highs and lows. But when he stood up, when he got up, again, blood running down his face and put his fist in the air and said, fight, 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 I couldn't be more proud of him. That's the person America needs. We need that more than anything right now as a country. We need that more than anything with all the problems that we have as a nation. And I've never been more proud of a person in my life, and love him to death.
Politics aside, you know him well as a person.
I do.
What was that first conversation like when you were finally able to get in touch with him?
Yeah, well, thank God he still had a sense of humor, which was, we have an unbelievable relationship. There's probably no two people who are closer. And, he cracked a little joke, and I knew the life was still in him. And that's scary times, right? I mean, they threw him in that car. He's bleeding all over the place. They threw him in that car, and, you don't really have contact, right? Things are chaos at that time. They're trying to get him to a hospital and everything else. And to hear his voice was beyond, reassuring. It was, scary, roughly hour of, and I was in a little bit of contact with them, but that's a scary period of time. It really is.
You mentioned that you're going to be on this stage shortly. Have you changed what you're going to say?
Yeah. I have. And I think the whole tone's changed. I've been doing interviews all day, and traditionally with outlets that might not necessarily always treat us well. And I can tell you that the tone of all of them has been beautiful. It's been respectful. And every single time I've come off the air, I've said that. I go, isn't this nice? Like, isn't this what politics in the U.S. should be? Hey, you can disagree on two issues, right? Two political issues. And there's real reasons to disagree on two issues. None of this stuff's easy, but isn't it nice to have some civility and, and some love? Like, at the end of the day, we don't disagree on the fact that we love the United States of America. And we want to see the best for our nation. And, and we can all fight for that, but, it doesn't need to get as ugly as it's gotten. And I think everybody can tone it back in a very big way. And, oftentimes people's memories are short. And I hope to God, if I have one wish, if I have one dream, I hope to God people's memories aren't short, and that can become the new norm.
Obviously, tonight you might consider it's a number of converts who are going to be speaking, including Nikki Haley, who has said in the past that she feels that your dad brings chaos. In the name of unifying the party, what do you feel that people who are saying that they, at one time perhaps, were never Trumpers, who are saying that they're never going to be part of this unified Republican Party, what do you say to them?
Well, listen, I think it's kind of republic. It's kind of politics, right? In the United States, you had Kamala Harris, who at one time called Joe Biden a racist. Does she really believe that? No, but it was part of the political race that they ran, and it's not nice. But unfortunately, that's a political system in the United States. People run; they run on their own ideas. It gets all, very, very personal, and sometimes it gets very ugly because of that. You and I both wish that didn't exist in the world, but it does, and it exists on both sides. And I think it's actually a great testament that Nikki Haley's here tonight, and I think her words are going to be beautiful. It's a great testament that Ron DeSantis is going to be here tonight, and I think his words are going to be incredibly powerful. And the list goes on, but, so oftentimes when you can take somebody who is critical of you and then you can turn them around, almost get them to admit that maybe they're wrong, maybe they missed something, maybe they were I think it's actually a beautiful thing. I think that's almost nicer than having somebody who's been a lifelong believer who's still a believer, right? It's you almost did the impossible based on the fact that you proved something to them. Maybe it was about your character or your positions or your policy or whatever it was. But I think it's beautiful that they're speaking, and we welcome every person into this party. I don't care who you are, where you are, your race, your ethnicity. We welcome everyone into this party. My father's always reached out to everybody with open arms, and you saw that last night with the Teamsters. When was the last time the Teamsters spoke at a Republican event? And he comes in here saying, it's the greatest honor of my life to be able to speak here because I want to speak on behalf of everybody. And my father's opened his arms. The party has opened their arms. My wife, certainly running the RNC, has opened her arms. Gay, straight, white, black, it doesn't matter. We want you in the party. We love you. We care about you. You're an American. Let's make this country great again.
J.D. Vance, within an hour of the assassination attempt, had tweeted basically pointing fingers at Joe Biden. Do you feel that flies in the face of the messaging of unification?
Yeah, well, we need to unify. We need to unify. Listen, there's been a lot of things. Obviously, Joe Biden had a tweet that 2 days before about putting a bullseye on the president's head, right? That wasn't that wasn't exactly helpful for the President of the United States to go out there and speak to however many constituents he has and talk
And
about.
he's apologized for it. Right?
No, of course, fair enough. But what I'm saying is, I don't think that was helpful, and whether he meant physically put a true crosshair on somebody's face or whether he's metaphorical about it, right? I mean, I'm not at all suggesting that, but what I'm saying is there's some pretty tough rhetoric on both sides of the aisle, and ideally it stops. And listen, we got to fix our economy. Our economy sucks right now. Everything's more expensive. Everything's too expensive. No one can afford life. We've got to fix our country. We've got to fix our borders. 300,000 kids died from fentanyl this year. Like, let's actually tackle the important stuff. Stop with the sound bites. We can make this country so much stronger, so much safer, so much better. Our cities are falling apart. Our infrastructure is falling apart. Let's focus on the big hole in the roof that we have as a country and stop with the games, stop with the nonsense, stop messing around with the things that aren't important. We'd be a much better nation if we did. And I think that's going to be so much of what you hear tonight and from my father and from our whole family.
Mayor Trump, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate
It's good
it.
to be with you.
Thank you.